So we're in the middle of the Imbolc immersion weekend, and we did the opening ceremony last night where we made Bridget crosses and straw dolls and shared, in honour of St Bridget the goddess, poetry, stories of metal work, our rings, jewellery and such like, and healing. And we had some lovely poems, and we made intention bags where we sewed our intentions into little mojo bags. And then we had cacao ceremony this morning, heart opening medicine, and then we just came down to Port de Moulin, which I think is the most sacred area of the island, and had a skinny dip, and now we're heading back to have some soup. And then this evening, because we spent the morning also getting to know the trees and finding out the magic and the lore of trees, and then we collected wands today, and then tonight we're going to activate our wands, and I'm really excited. Happy bloody Imbolc.
Pale colour. Brown or grey?
Happy Imbolc! Yay! Thank you. Wicked Witches. It's the Dark Moon in Aquarius. We've entered the age of Aquarius, and this is the start of a 20-year cycle, which is quite a big deal. If you don't like change, then this is going to be a bit of a tough ride. So you should probably work on getting used to it. And the best ways to get used to change is to surrender. Do lots of breathing exercises, meditation. Keep doing things differently. Keep mixing up your morning routine, choosing different toilet cubicles, having cold showers, doing things that you would never normally do. All of these things help you kind of break the matrix. And the more you break the matrix, the less you buy into it and the less you are governed by it. And the more you can do that, the more relaxed you're going to be with this changing state. Because we are moving from what was water into steam. What I mean by that is we had the Ice Age, and we had small groups of people, pockets of people that didn't necessarily come into contact with each other that much. And then we became water when we suddenly started to create these fluid empires that mixed and connected with each other and flowed around the world. And now inventions are doubling exponentially. If you think about the time between the first axe and the first wheel, and then the next invention, and then the next invention, we're now at a point where inventions are doubling exponentially, as are memory storage, AI capability, like everything is doubling exponentially. So we're turning into a completely different state of being, which is kind of in the cloud and in the ether and is basically steam. So how do you turn from water into steam? You've got to just surrender, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. It is happening. We can expect probably in the next 20 years there to be lots of revolutions. 200 years ago, which was the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, there was the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, the American Revolution. So we're probably going to see some of that. Look after yourself. And this year especially, it's an 8-year, and 8-year is life force energy, which is the power of giving birth to a child, creating a child. So I've burnt myself out already. I've been ill this week. I already burnt myself out, and it's going to be really easy to do that. And I was doing the work. I was on top of my game. I know what I did. I ate wheat and dairy, and I'd completely cleared myself out of wheat and dairy, and then I went and ate wheat and dairy. I had a whole massive pizza, and I loved it, and then the next day I was ill. So it knocked my immune system. So lesson learned, but it also then made me feel completely burnt out. I was sort of like ignoring the fact that I was burnt out. And and then suddenly I was extremely burnt out and really ill. So be really careful. Like, it's high energy this year, but it's very much about being a fit receptacle. So having a morning practice of doing yoga, walking, swimming, yoga, they're my things. That's what I do. Definitely meditation. I meditate every day for 10 minutes. It's just really important that you do the breath work and do this work, because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out. So anything you can do that will ground yourself. Now I'm going to do the Dark Moon ceremony now. People have started to appear, so I'm going to welcome them in. I love it when people come. On the Dark Moon, it's always a lot quieter, so you never know who's going to come, but I've just spotted someone who I'm very excited to see. They're coming from Norway. So I will do a reading afterwards, and we'll do an Imbolc Aquarius Dark Moon reading. This is exciting times. This is innovation and invention and entrepreneurship, and I'm so excited about the next 20 years. I love change. So the more you can embrace change and embrace the unknown and chaos, the better. All right. Just had a lovely Dark Moon ceremony. It was lovely. We had lots of people. We had someone from Guernsey, someone from Norway, 2 people from Ireland, someone in Exeter. It's really nice. That's why I like doing it online, because it means that we get to connect. It happened because of lockdown. That's what started it. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to connect. We started doing circles on the island, which is great. So we actually do circles on the full moon. And I normally celebrate the Sabbats with people. So like Imbolc, I did the immersion. So I'm normally with people for the Sabbats. But yeah, I like doing the moons with people online. So if you ever feel like joining, you literally just click the Zoom link and come. And it's really gentle. There's nothing like crazy about it. It's almost like a free online group therapy session. And just really chill. It's really, everyone who comes is so lovely. So I made a little mojo bag this evening. This is for Aquarius, which is all sort of blue and silver, and that's why I'm wearing all blue and silver. It's the colours of Aquarius, and the altar is all blue and silver this moon. So I'm going to do a reading, and it's going to be for the Dark Moon Aquarius, which is a big thing. It's a big thing, because it's not just, it's the start of the year, but it's the start of a 20-year massive thing going on with this Pluto energy, the dawn of the age of Aquarius, and we're in an 8 year, and the 8 year is, so 2024, if you add all the numbers together, it makes 8, and 8 is the number of like life force energy, which is the power to produce a baby. It's that kind of power, which I've already burnt myself out. In 1 month I already managed to burn myself out. So you need to be a fit receptacle. You need to stay grounded. I was doing a daily practice of yoga and meditating and all the things. But I was getting the early warning signs that I was like double booking myself. And when I do that, that's a sign that I need to ask for help. Which I'm not very good at, but it's also really difficult because the people who I would be asking for help from also have the same kind of problems as me, which is the main issue is that when you're working on a project, the deadline you can't put it off. You know, like Beltane is going to be when we're getting married, and is the festival. So regardless of whether I'm burnt out or not, like that's still going to happen. I've still got to do that. So yeah, but how to manage it. I mean, I felt like I was doing as much as I possibly could, and it feels like it was because I ate wheat and dairy that I got ill, but still, as my friend Dita just said in the ceremony, I would have got ill anyway. I needed to chill out. So yeah, I've had a rest for this week, and I need to take it easy going forwards. So how to be a fit receptacle, but also go with the flow and be able to surrender to this huge change, which is what we're facing. The birch rune, which means new beginnings, so couldn't be more apt. So this is all a big new beginning. In the physical world, it's sunshine. So how to be our biggest, brightest selves. The sun card is it's a bit like this. It's the Leo Lust for Life card, and the sun card as well, which I don't have to hand, but it's being your biggest, brightest self, your highest self. But Aquarius is about the collective. So Leo is, because there's a spectrum, and Leo and Aquarius are opposite each other. Leo is being your biggest, brightest self, and Aquarius is how do you then support everyone to be their biggest, brightest self? And that's what it's all about. So how do we all fucking hold each other up? Even the people that piss you off, how can you help them be their best selves? Necessity in our communication, and Aquarius is air, so it's about communication and sharing our ideas. This leveling up and shift that we're going through is necessary, because we're all going to die if we don't do something. If we don't shift, if we don't change the way we are and the mindset, the whole thing, the whole game, the whole system, it needs to change. It is necessary. So we need to think big. And then it's the blank rune, which is that anything's possible, and this is in our will. So this is in the fire, which is your will and drive. Anything is possible. Like, there's no limits, so do not put any limits on yourself. And in the spiritual, we've got protection, but also being totally sensitive. So this is like the elk with its horns, its antlers. So being protected and is protection, but through being so sensitive and present that you're fully connected. And that rune was my rune for the last pilgrimage, and it was like the antlers and everything are just so connected and present that you can feel if there's anything, you know, you can dodge a thing because you're there, you're present. So turning to steam, it feels like if you're steam, then you've got your tentacles out, you're fully part of everything and one with everything and going with the flow. So this is good. Let's have a look what cards we pull. The Empress, which is Venus, the feminine, the divine feminine. We have here failure, number 7, okay, and cruelty. Okay, so pulling those 3, I would say is we live in this beautiful world. We've got the goddess. The Empress represents Mother Nature and Gaia, and the system that we live in has failed. I mean, that is, if we don't go with the flow, and if we don't turn to steam, and if we don't shift things up, then that's the business as usual card. And I mean, the cruelty card, I would say it definitely feels like that's the possibility, like, of what's ahead, and it's something that I feel like I am always preparing myself for battle to some extent, but I also think that things won't you know, like, even the middle of a war, everyone's filming the war zone, but then next to it is someone going to school or like doing their groceries, and you navigate your way through. So yes, there's the fear of cruelty, and there's the fear of the apocalypse and all the rest of it, but you've got to trust. And this is, you know, she's so gentle and so loving and so beautiful, and it's worth fighting for. So even if you know, I'm like, I don't want to be burnt at the stake, but I also feel like if I don't get burnt at the stake, then I wasn't trying hard enough. And I always say that about government lists as well. It's like, if I'm not on some list for being, you know, what's the word? Dissident? What's the word? But yeah, like, I'm obviously not trying hard enough if I'm not on some list for fighting for what I believe in. And what I believe in is divine beauty. And divine beauty is that beautiful little fucking golden seed in the center of your heart that makes you the beautiful little being that you are, and that is in the center of everything, in the center of every planet, every flower, every mountain, every view. This whole thing is divinely beautiful. We're so blessed and lucky to be here, and that I'm fighting for that, and I'm fighting for that being the focus and the key of what we're doing, rather than whatever shit, this tarmac, like, sick pigeon bullshit. There you go, nurture, Mother Earth. It's all for her. Literally everything I do is about her, this priest, the Empress Gaia. Oh. And it does, compassion is what's key. So giving love, supporting people to be their highest selves, and you know, of course people are scared, and of course people fear failure and fear cruelty. Like, we're all scared. Fear and ego are the two things that we have to be mindful of. So first of all, realizing there's nothing to be scared of. I mean, there are things to be scared of, but like, don't let fear stop you. You know, like I was scared of walking across the country on my own because I was scared of getting raped by as a woman, and I've walked 2,000 miles and nothing bad's ever happened to me, and people have just been amazing and kind. And if I'd let that fear control me, then I wouldn't have gone, because I was worried about what might happen, and then it didn't happen. And if it did happen, I'd have to deal with it there and then. But it could happen here, it could happen at home. Like, you know, it's more likely to happen at home and in your like community than it is just sort of walking across the countryside. So don't let fear rule you. And ego is in cockiness, but also ego is in worrying about what people think of you, or ego is your smallest self. So don't let your smallest self control you, which is basically fear. And also then don't get cocky about things. But yeah, just don't let fear rule you. And the big part of overcoming that is looking out with compassion, being supportive of other people, compassionate and supportive of other people's fear and journeys. You know, the more that you're not navel gazing, the more you look up and look into the faces of strangers and have compassion and love for them, and the desire to support and enable and understand. And it's just amazing. The world's full of people doing it back. You know, I literally cannot believe how much love and compassion I've been given, and I just want to give it out as much as I possibly can. It's life's much better when that's what's going on, and it's full, it's abundant. This world is so abundant. So I'm gonna pull a Inanna. So this is kind of she's the precursor to Venus, to Aphrodite. She's great. Independence. I'll read her out. Sumerian war and fertility goddess Inanna is one of the oldest recorded deities from ancient Sumer. Distinguished due to her desire for complete autonomy and self-liberation, she is synonymous with the Semitic goddess Ishtar, who is of the same essence and could be seen interchangeably with her, only with a slightly more volatile tonality. Inanna is usually accompanied by a lion, a symbol of great ferocity, which is also the lust card, which is the Leo card, and courage, and is associated with the planet Venus. Unable to cope with her unrestrained sexuality and self-determined nature, the increasingly patriarchal and religious society deemed her unfit as a deity. Inanna strides forward, atop her lion, to demonstrate the power of independence. Your soul is crying out for freedom, of choice, of love, of experience. Now is the time to listen to the message the universe is laying before you and embrace the beauty within self-reliance. Inanna is here to give you the courage required to leave a situation you may have outgrown. Self-imposed rules may no longer apply to you along your current path, and it's crucial to be assertive with anyone attempting to overstep your boundaries. Take the reins of independence in your own hands and control your desires, for they are always within reach. And that is basically Aquarius in a nutshell. And that's why there's probably going to be a lot of revolution and stuff in the next 20 years. It's all about new beginnings. It's all about us going, do you know what? Fuck this. We're going to do it differently. And we have to have the bravery to do it. And yeah, it might not always be pretty, and there might be some hard fights along the way, but it's not otherwise. So fuck that. Cool. Happy Imbolc and dawning of Aquarius, and strap in. It's going to be quite a ride.